Red Dead Redemption is one of those games that gets vastly overshadowed by its younger brother. The sequel blows the original out of the water, despite the original being great in its own way. Not just story-wise, but in the open world exploration as well. Today, I would like to go back to the original to cover the unsolved mysteries of Red Dead Redemption. Several residents of Armadillo and the surrounding areas have gone missing over the past few months in separate incidents, but none have yet turned up, either alive or dead. Local law enforcement bodies are urging residents to show extra caution when traveling in the backcountry on their own or when traveling at night. This is said in the Blackwater Ledger issue 53. To find the answers to what happened to these people, we have to travel to Armadillo.
They took my boy! My boy!
Who did?
He's missing. He's only a youngster. My boy is missing.
Where? Who took him?
Them people in the hills.
A woman's 8-year-old boy, Ralph Anderson, went missing in the hills near Hanging Rock. Upon meeting the woman, she asked Jack to help her on her search for her son. When investigating the location, we can only find remains, but still no body. Going back to Armadillo, we can find a man in agony over his wife's disappearance in the hills. Jack again offers to help, but once again upon returning to the location, we can only find her shoe, blood, and arm. Once again, returning to Armadillo, we can find another grieving woman over her husband's disappearance. She gives the same story, so we yet again go back to the hills. This time is different, however. Once arriving to the location, we can find a man that needs our help chasing down his attacker that tried to break his leg.
Mister, some city fella just attacked me and broke my leg.
What?
He broke my leg. Some city fella.
Well, if I see him, I'll bring him back this way.
Thank you, mister.
After returning the assailant, we learn that he's actually the victim.
Oh my good lord. Please get that man away from me. Hey, fella.
You broke this poor fool's leg, mister.
This maniac tried to eat me. We've got cannibals in these here hills. Please help me.
What?
Please. Fella's gotta eat now. Fella's got to eat. Save me from this freak, please. Please.
We can make the choice to either leave the man to die or to kill the cannibal. The cannibal's name is Randall Forrester. For months he's been kidnapping the nearby residents to feast on. But luckily Jack put a stop to the cannibalism in the hills. Or so we thought. See, each time Jack encounters the victim's family, these characters refer to not just one cannibal, but multiple.
Who took him?
Them people in the hills.
She went out picking mushrooms in the hills near Hanging Rock and they got her.
So are there more of them? Archie Nevers, a seemingly harmless Armadillo resident. He fits right in, hides in plain sight, but Archie holds a dark secret. In a random encounter, we can find Archie's campsite. Once he's aware of the player, he instantly starts shooting. Once killing him, we learn of his dark secret. Arms, bones, and blood laid across the campsite, but we're able to save his next victim. It's unknown if Archie Nevers and Randall Forrester had any sort of connection, but assuming they did means there could be a community of cannibals out there in New Austin. But this is where the mystery ends. Could there be more cannibals in the world of Red Dead Redemption? We may never know. Just a little down the road from Cooch Chapel, we're able to find an old woman looking for her husband.
Oh, let me look at you. My gentleman caller. You remind me of my Peter. Have you seen him?
I don't think so.
Where is that man? We'll be late for the ceremony. He must still be at the saloon in Armadillo.
Well, I gotta get going, ma'am. I'm sure your Peter will be just fine.
Wait, I beg you. Would you possibly go fetch him for me? This was meant to be my perfect day.
Of course, John being John, he agrees to find her Peter, first stopping at the Armadillo Saloon.
I'm looking for a man. Name's Peter. Fella's meant to get married today. Seen him around?
You ain't after no Pete Turner, are you? Truth is, Pete Turner ain't been in Armadillo for near on 20 years now. Kind of a queer fella and all. Wasn't here every night. Sure as the moon in the sky.
What happened to him?
Well, what happens to all of us? I reckon you'll find him at Odd Fella's Rest.
Following the man's lead, we can find Pete Turner, only problem is he's not exactly ready for his big wedding day. Pete Turner is dead. It's clear the old woman was confused, but going back to the location that we found her, she's not there. The mission ends, leaving us with more questions than answers. But the mystery isn't over. In the Undead Nightmare DLC, Alma Horlick can be found rising out of her grave in the Cooch Chapel Cemetery. The date of death reads 1911. Does this mean she died soon after she encountered John? Or is there a more supernatural answer to this mystery? Could it be she wanted John to reignite her and her Peter together one last time? Meaning Alma Horlick died before John ever came across her. Or she could have been a confused woman who died soon after. Her grave can be found in the base game, but Red Dead expert Kid Cull tells me her grave was only meant to appear in the Undead Nightmare map, but somehow the Undead Nightmare map overlapped with the base game. This is where the mystery ends. Was Alma a ghost looking for her Peter? Or was she simply a confused old woman? We may never know. But I'll leave you with this. Quaker's Cove, West Elizabeth, a small river jetty for the passing boats. In 1907 it's vacant, but coming back in 1911 we can find a broken down steamboat, the wreck of the Serendipity. The ship is abandoned and partially sunk. But what caused the Serendipity to fall in such disrepair?
You ever hear the old timers talk about the wreck of the Serendipity? Said that boat was cursed by a woman who had been cheated on. Her husband, the captain, died in a terrible way. It's still cursed.
Is the boat cursed by a woman, or is there a more simple conclusion that we could come to? The ship is covered in thick algae, suggesting the boat was fully submerged at some point in time. Could it mean it simply crossed into a shallow body of water, sinking? But sometime between 1907 and 1911, it was towed to Quaker's Cove. It's a decent theory, but it's also possible the Serendipity's condition has to do with its original home, the settlement of Tehula Jetty. The sign on the front of the boat suggests the Serendipity comes from a place called Tehula Jetty. Despite not being an accessible location in either of the Red Dead games, it still exists in the lore. Tehula Jetty gang killed. It's an article that can be found in the newspapers that suggests that Tehula Jetty is a real settlement in the Red Dead universe. But this isn't the only mention of the mysterious location. In 2016, an early beta map of Red Dead Redemption 2 was leaked. In this leaked map, we can see Tehula Jetty was marked on the map. It's almost exactly where the Van Horn trading post is in the final release. My theory is that Tehula Jetty was renamed Van Horn. We know that Tehula Jetty's purpose is to dock ships, so is it a coincidence that Van Horn fills that exact purpose? If Tehula Jetty was caught from Red Dead Redemption 2, could it mean the Serendipity could have made an appearance in the sequel? Could we have even seen the reason for why it looks the way it does in the original Red Dead Redemption? It's possible we could have gotten an answer to what happened to the Serendipity. But I guess we'll never know.